Imagine holding the catastrophic power of a nuclear weapon in the palm of your hand, with the only thing preventing a critical reaction being the tip of a simple flathead screwdriver. In 1946, scientists at Los Alamos were conducting high-stakes experiments on atomic materials. They were so confident in their control that they nicknamed the procedure tickling the dragon's tail. The setup involved a 14-pound sphere of plutonium, which they attempted to keep subcritical by propping open two halves of a beryllium shell. But as the physicist's screwdriver slipped, the halves closed. The beryllium reflected neutrons back into the core, and the room was instantly flooded with a blinding flash of blue light. The core had gone critical, blasting everyone in the laboratory with a lethal dose of gamma radiation. Physicist Louis Slotin reacted in less than a second, flipping the top half of the shell away to save his colleagues, but he absorbed a fatal dose in the process. This single error reveals the terrifying speed of atomic destruction, an invisible process that begins inside the cell and, as we will see, can lead to disasters that entire governments struggle to hide. What Slotin experienced was acute radiation syndrome, a systematic biological collapse triggered by the absorption of massive amounts of energy. At this level, radiation acts like a barrage of microscopic bullets, literally shattering the genetic blueprints inside your cells. Because the DNA is destroyed, these cells lose the ability to divide and replicate. They essentially stop functioning, leaving the body unable to repair itself. Over the next 9 days, the body begins to fail. The tissues in the stomach and intestines deteriorate first, because those cells naturally regenerate the fastest. This leads to severe internal damage and nausea, quickly followed by the total collapse of the immune system. The timeline ends in total organ failure, as the body's internal systems fail one by one. Biological destruction at this level is fast, clinical, and entirely irreversible once the initial energy has been absorbed. While the Demon Core was a localized tragedy, the same physics took on an industrial scale deep inside the 1957 Soviet Union. At a secret site called Mayak, thousands of tons of highly radioactive liquid waste were being stored in massive underground tanks. Because this was a classified military operation, safety was routinely ignored in favor of meeting production quotas. When the cooling system in one of the massive tanks failed, the highly radioactive liquid began to boil. The resulting chemical explosion detonated with the force of 70 tons of TNT. The blast was so powerful it blew a 160-ton concrete lid right off the tank and sent it flying into the sky. This explosion scaled the biological horrors of radiation to a geographic level, sending a radioactive plume into the sky that contaminated over 20,000 square miles. Despite the scale of the fallout, the government did not issue a warning to the hundreds of thousands living in the path of the plume. Instead, they carried out a quiet, secret evacuation of the villages closest to the site, a process that took 2 full years to complete. Local citizens were left to wonder why they were suddenly falling ill, with no information about the radiation they were breathing and consuming. To hide the evidence of the disaster, the government literally wiped the names of the affected towns off official maps. This erasure was so successful that the rest of the world remained unaware of the Kyshtym disaster until the late 1980s. These events demonstrate that while human error is an inevitable part of scientific progress, the true cost is often hidden by institutions that prioritize their own secrecy over human survival. If you want to see more deep dives into the side of history they tried to keep secret, hit that subscribe button. I want to hear from you. What classified event or scientific anomaly should we look into next? Let me know in the comments.